Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. So happy that you give me a small chunk of your afternoon. The number to call, if you want to talk to me after the first break, 585-346-3000. For some reason, this weekend, I was thinking about something. I was thinking about old family TV shows. Now, some of you will be old enough to remember the shows. Some of you maybe you heard of them. Some of them you have no idea what I'm talking about. Anybody remember the old TV show, Father Knows Best? Another one, similar time, a little bit before, Leave It to Beaver. What was similar about those shows? What was similar about those shows is that there was family issues, concerns, and at one point, there was someone who could come in and go, all right, I get the issues. I'm going to fix it. I'm the wise person. In this case, it was traditional families from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So it was the dad who came home from work and was like, okay, I put on my pipe. I'm sorry, my slippers and grab my pipe, and I'm going to solve the problem, right? So, yeah. That's what was happening. And I think a lot of people still to this day kind of either think or wish that our government was similar to that, in that there was someone at the top who could be like the wise dad of the TV shows of the 40s, 50s, and 60s, who could say, okay, you guys are fighting. Father knows best. It could be mother, whatever. Older person who's savvy knows best and will now solve the issues. You know, that doesn't exist. Again and again and again, we see it. We see it to where we set up a system to where that's supposed to happen. We did. And that system, those people who were supposed to be like Father Knows Best, were supposed to be our judges. The judges were supposed to watch all the people do all those things and fight back and forth. And, oh, Wally yelled at me, or mom was mean to me, or my older brother was cruel to me. Dad, do the right thing. Our judges were supposed to be that. They're not. Yes, I'm complaining about judges again. But in a very specific situation here, because this part is even hard for judges. What I mean by that is, I'm talking about the Department of Motor Vehicles. I bring that one up because most people know about their DMV and they hate it. Not everyone does, but most do. But it's indicative of a serious problem we have throughout New York State, which is agencies that we don't vote for, agencies who have responsibility to no one, making up rules that become laws that crush New York State residents, and we have no recourse. An example I'm going to give you right now is the DMV. New rules are coming into play this month, making it harder for people to keep their licenses, higher points for people who have infractions, to include points for infractions where you're not even moving. They're not even moving. And you get points in your license. So you will lose your license faster, higher points, and worse, no recourse. You can't change it. Not a law. What's supposed to happen? A judge steps in and goes, this is insane. No, stop. A governor says, this is insane. No, stop. But there is no parent who knows best. There is no father or mother who knows best. They're all about trashing us. Then you make us say, Larry, stop. These are people who are breaking the law. I get it, all you law and order people. I get it. But what's the purpose of the law? Should be to protect us. One would assume. That's why you would have one. One would assume, right? Okay. So obviously, there are tons of New Yorkers who are dying in the streets, and we have to increase these laws so we can stop all these people from dying, right? Of course not. Literally a decrease in deaths across New York State since 2022. Decrease. It went up, obviously, because during the lockdowns, people weren't driving. So it went up 2022, then down. Been going down since. New York City specifically, lowest since they've been keeping track. I'm not joking. The lowest since they've been keeping track. Embarrassing. This is all about punishment. Why? Because they need money. You know what is going to keep going up? Fines and fees from non-moving violations. And of course, cameras. Because that's going to be another way of making more money. Yeah, go, but Larry, the state's got to make money. You're not wrong. It does. It's got to somehow pay its bills. True. So the decision is not just to make money, but to make money off the backs of the working class, punishing them, putting them in a position to where now they're going to have to drive illegally. They're going to have to. You're going to take their license away. Oh, not just that. For those who don't know, there's also a new thing called a surcharge. It's not new, but the punishment's newer. So you get a ticket, whatever, it's $100 because you were speeding. Bad. Get your $100. I got it. But then the state decides we're going to have a surcharge of another $200. How are you supposed to afford this? Well, then, Larry, don't speed. Stop. People speed. You know that's BS. Don't give me that. You know it's also not about safety. If you're old enough, you remember the reason why we lowered the speed limit wasn't because of safety. It was because climate change. Remember that? Those of you who are younger, you might think it's because safety. No. Our highways were made literally for cars to go between 65 and 75 miles an hour. I'm not joking. Google it, whatever, ChatGPT it. That's what they're made for. They lowered it because carbon emissions, not because safety. That's the reality. So now we make more cash off it. More and more cash. And worse, it is off the backs of the working class, the average guy or gal who has to drive to work. Now, here's what happens. You're driving to work. You're late. So you go in 60, 65, 70 in a 50. Boom, there's your ticket. And now it's an extra surcharge. And worse, what if you want to fight it? We're not going to pay a lawyer, which I can't afford. Or worse, Larry, show up on your own. There are districts, across precincts in this state, which we should be embarrassed by this, who say, yeah, you can fight it if you want to. You have to show up in court on Monday from whatever, 3 to 5. What? Do you not know what Zoom is? Do you not know what a phone call is? We can't do video conferencing. What if I'm going to visit my cousin in Buffalo and I get a ticket in Syracuse and I live in Albany? Are we kidding me? This is just a way of making more cash off the backs of people who need their cars to survive. So now I got to use my car so I can go work, so I can pay my bill? I'm already broke. Have you guys seen the repos now? There's repos everywhere. People losing cars left and right. So I already got insane high car insurance. I'm already dealing with my note. And now I got the state punching me in the face too. This is where we are. And of course, got people go, well, Larry, the law. When the law is made to crush you, why would you want to follow it? You are begging people to become criminals. You're begging them, and they're going to. And then they're going to say, well, you lost your license because you didn't pay your fines. I'm trying to survive in this state. You could stop punching me in the face, maybe. Most New Yorkers, we aren't even asking for a hand up. We're asking you to take your hand off my throat. Can you just do that? Clearly, no. Who's standing up against this? It's not our government. They're on top of it. Shame on the DMV. Shame on our judges. Shame on our assembly. Shame on our governor. Again and again and again, they keep punching us and stop giving us good service. Am I mad for no reason? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, on the Voice of Liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Bob Savage here again for Aaron Moore. You're probably trying to head off staggering heating bills this bitter winter without shivering and dressing in layers indoors. Good thing you can do what so many have discovered, that you can slash your heating costs this fall and winter with Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters while cranking down your furnace. Even better, Aaron Moore heat is quiet, clean, and even, and healthier. No burning of oxygen and particulates to dry out your nose, sinuses, and skin. And Aaron Moore heaters are completely safe for children and pets. No exposed hot surfaces or heating elements to pose shock or fire hazards. Choose the best-selling Comfort Deluxe or the compact Comfort Buddy for smaller areas. Enter discount code WYSL in your shopping cart and save. Free shipping in the continental USA. Copper PTC technology means there are no bulbs to replace ever. Built like a battleship, maintenance-free Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters are the way to really save on heating bills like we do at the Voice of Liberty. Call 800-707-8725 or visit more.com.
We have a caller, Kalu, on the phone. Then we have a couple more after him.
Discount tickets at Tops Markets. For details, visit therochesterautoshow.com. Driving tomorrow. The future starts here.
Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Yes, indeed. It is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. I would like to grab a call if I could. Kalu, how are you?
Hello?
Did I get you?
Yeah, you can hear me?
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How about you? You can hear me?
Good. What's going on?
I was wondering, because I see a bunch of parks that, especially like Central Park.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the DMV realm, but I see a bunch of parks, especially like Central Park in the Bronx and all of that. If why doesn't the city allow parking? And matter of fact, they even stopped people from driving in Central Park. I remember when I was younger, I used to be able to see that.
Yeah,
I don't know if
issue
that's
is
the DMV
there's
realm.
basically been a war on cars in New York City. They've tried to make New York City like a European city where everyone drives bikes and walks and such, and they make a 15-minute city. Now, in theory, am I against that? I don't really care either way. The problem is this has not been thought through at all. It is pushed on the people who don't want it, and it makes it harder for people to enjoy New York City, particularly if you want to have a car. So the reason why they do it is they create rules. They go no parking here, no parking there, and they also want to open up areas to bike lanes. When you open up areas to bike lanes, you by default get rid of parking. I see it throughout Queens. Now, they will ask the local people sometimes, Kalu. They'll say, hey, do you guys want it? They'll ask questions. It's called public comment. Public comment is useless. It just has people complain, and the city does whatever it wants. One of the worst people for this was de Blasio. De Blasio was our mayor for 8 years. He went out of his way to completely destroy anyone who has a car in New York City. And congestion pricing doesn't help. There is a consistent war on cars in our city, and it's not helpful. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I that definitely answers it. I just don't like. I think me and you know that stuff like you could have went about it a different way, or is that you can't
Yes.
push everybody into it, because like I see like women with strollers, you can't just force them on the subway. Like, stop forcing them on the subway. If
I
they could
agree.
save
That's how they
themselves with a
keep the
car,
subway going. Yes.
yeah, if they could save themselves with a car, then do that.
That's the point you brought up, right? If you're wealthy, and you know this, the wealthy people in Manhattan, they have their own car services. So they can pay for a car service or pay for a driver. For those of you who don't know, if you don't live in New York City, down Park Avenue is where most of the bankers are now. They're not on Wall Street anymore. They started moving after 9/11, and now almost all of them are now on Wall Street. I'm sorry, on Park Avenue. All the sides to Park Avenue is filled with black cars. Where are these black cars? All the private drivers of the bankers. Kalu's correct. They have private drivers. Everyone else is stuck going into the subway. Thank you for the call, Kalu. I appreciate it. Yeah, look, I think he's right. I think you see people get pushed into the subway system when they don't want to be on it.
Tony.
So that's an issue. Grab the call if I could. This is Tony. Tony, how are you?
Larry, good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. What's up?
Larry, I've been a concealed carry permit holder since the 90s. I as soon as this new freaking point system came out, I just keep saying I'm sick and tired of living in a state that's just constantly trying to screw me. And I am voting for you, but until we get a SAVE Act in New York and we can have voter ID where we need to have a pictured license, we're never going to have a chance. And I want to flee here. As soon as I can get my wife to get out of here, I'm leaving. I can't stand
let me cover
New York.
a couple
it
things,
used to
Tony.
be a beautiful place when I grew up here in the 60s and 70s. Go ahead, Larry.
No, you and I are the same. I remember growing up in the 60s and 70s. I remember. I'm with you. Let me give you a couple things. Number one, I hear you, and I'm sad you're going to leave, but I get it. I hear this all the time. I hear people who say they're waiting for either someone to retire, them or their spouse, or two, a kid to graduate school, either high school or college, or lastly, an elderly parent to pass. And one of those three things happen, they leave. But Tony, let me give you some hope. Trump said it in 2024. He said, too big to rig. If we make this movement big enough, it won't matter. If we have enough people caring, it won't matter. More people have to care about saving this state. If they do, we can fix it. Does that make sense?
I hope you're right, Larry, but I think Blakeman's got to get out because we just can't split the vote.
I completely agree. So let's hope I beat him in a primary, and then he's out.
Okay, I hope you're right.
There we go. I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. Look, I understand where Tony's coming from. I hear it literally every week. People telling me, Larry,
Robert.
It doesn't matter. It's over. I got to go. It's too far. It's the gun laws. It's the DMV laws. It's the constant oppression. Tony is correct. New York State is a beautiful state with a terrible government. That's the truth. So let me grab another call if I could. Hello, how are you?
Pretty good, Larry. How you doing today? I
What's
just
going
reason I
on?
give you a quick call to add on to your law enforcement. Could be a little wrong here, but my understanding is New York State troopers wrote 34,000 tickets in a 4-day span of Thanksgiving, and that's not a Gestapo state. I just don't understand it.
I don't doubt that. I don't know that, to be forward. I didn't know that, but I meet a lot of troopers, and the vast majority of law enforcement in general, and I mean this across the board, to include state troopers, they didn't join to become a revenue source. The average guy or gal who goes to the academy joins for one or two reasons. One, they think it's a good job. Maybe their dad did it, their mom did it, whatever. Good job. Option one. Option two, they think, I want to stop bad guys. The vast majority of people who join the academy, it's one of those two reasons. They're not going, I cannot wait to write tickets. I can't wait to be a revenue source. They're not looking at that. They're not looking to be a profit center. So they still have to do what the system says. You will hear me say this about law enforcement all the time. Law enforcement, they're just people. They're human beings trying to do a job. If you have a better system, you will have better outcomes. If you have a worse system, you have a worse outcome. If you have a system that's focusing on making cash, they'll make cash. If we change that system, everything changes. And one of the ways you do that is by literally capping the amount of money any given municipality or district can take from tickets and fines. You just cap it. You can only get X dollars. What does that mean? That means the incentive to make more money from the elites above them go away. So now the cop can just stop people who the cop thinks is bad or is dangerous or is harming someone. They can focus not on a unwritten quota system. There is no actual quota system, but it's unwritten. They can focus on doing what they want to do, which is get bad guys. If you cap the amount any municipality can take, you allow the cops to be cops to include state troopers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I had an uncle and a cousin that were both state troopers. My cousin got out because he wasn't very happy with the law enforcement on the gun control. You just got away from all that. But they,
100%.
But still, there's a lot of them, your governor, all them, they work for the governor, just like the head of the state troopers. He's proud to work for the governor and do what she says, being spoon-fed. That's not right.
No, but the point again, it's a system. If the governor says, where's my money? Then they're going to go out and get money. If the governor says, make me a safe state, then they go have a safe state. Look, I'm a Marine. Marines also are just people trying to, we're cool people, but we're trying to just get something done. Wherever they put us is whatever gets broken. You got to put us in the right spots. This is a failure of leadership. That's what it is. The average cop does not want to, I'm sure there's bad cops. I'm sorry, sure. Of course there's bad cops. There's bad everything. So there's bad cops who want to be jerks and who want to hurt you. Of course. The average cop wants to be a good cop and do the right thing. So give them a better environment and you will have better cops. I'm not saying you're wrong in what's happening. I'm saying the responsibility isn't on the cop in this case. Sadly, some of them leave and I hear it. A lot of them can't wait to retire, to your point. They're like, I can't wait to retire because they don't like what they're doing. They thought they'd be getting bad guys and they're writing tickets. I think it's a good point. Thank you for the call, my friend. I appreciate it. So yeah, look, you'll never hear me go either side on law enforcement. You'd never hear me go, all cops are awesome or all cops are bad. Law enforcement, my father was in law enforcement. He was a cop, then he was a corrections officer in Rikers Island. They're humans. They're just people. If you make a crappy system, you will get a crappy outcome. You make a better system, you have a better outcome. I meet a lot of state troopers who, to his point, they're unhappy. They're like, this is not why I joined, not what I wanted. And many of them are ready to leave. Every single corrections officer I ever meet knows exactly how much time to retirement. They're like, this is not what I joined for. They're like, I want out. We can change that if we change incentives at the top. This should not be about money. It should be about public safety. And clear, for those of you who say, well, cops make mistakes. They do. Better system, less mistakes. 100%. That's a critical piece. Got a lot of calls for this segment. I promise you, get to all your chat. I see you guys. I promise I will. It's Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio. Yes, it's the voice of liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. I will get back. I will grab a bunch of your chat. Then I'll go back to calls after the break.
Radio home of the Bonnies. Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA FM, Cornell, New York. FM Talk. Canisteo Valley Update.
The Sheriff's Department is warning stupid.
All right, we'll have Keith next.
Something called the Benadryl Challenge.
Did you?
The very unusual, dangerous social media.
No problem. I sent you a couple texts. Did you see them?
However, this quote-unquote.
Yeah, were you familiar with that story?
Breathing problems, kidney failure.
You're welcome.
And death. The Sheriff's Department says have a conversation with your teen about this Benadryl Challenge and how bad it is. In other news, Bath Village police report the arrest of a 40-year-old Bath man who allegedly took Bath police on a chase Friday, driving around on his UTV. And Bath Village police say they abandoned the chase because it was too dangerous and then caught up with this man later at his home. He was charged with over a dozen infractions, including unlawful fleeing from a police officer. Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll be looking at mostly cloudy skies, nothing more than a brief little shower. Temps stay in the 30s on your Tuesday. Should be another decent day, mostly cloudy in the low 40s. Now, Wednesday, we got to watch. There could be some freezing rain and sleet. Also, just some plain rain. Temperatures are going to be very close to that freezing mark on Wednesday. I'm Rich Cornelia for the Voice of Liberty.
When you think chicken, think Stearns Poultry Farm Stores. Stearns Poultry Farm Stores with 2 locations, Seneca Street, Hornell, and Route 244 in Alfred Station. Stearns, the best chicken in these parts.
Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram helps you conquer the snow and cold with go-anywhere safety and security you can only get in a Jeep. Lease a 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4, only $259 a month for 27 months, 7,500 miles per year. Or how about a 2026 Jeep Compass Limited SUV, $189 a month for 27 months, 7,500 miles per year, must have lease loyalty. The 2026 Jeep Wrangler Sport S Convertible is $199 a month for 39 months, 7,500 miles per year, must have current Wrangler or Grand Cherokee hybrid lease. Want to pick up? The 2026 Ram 1500 Bighorn Lone Star Crew Cab is just $289 a month for 39 months. 10,000 miles per year, must have lease loyalty. All deals, $2,500 cash or trade down. Other conditions may apply. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and Finger Lakes. Visit the most beautiful new vehicle sales and service dealership in the area, Victor Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, 6484 Route 96, just east of Victor.
For many years, cancer has been one of the most intimidating ailments that a person can face. It can be even more so when a child is faced with battling this dreaded disease. This is Gary Mervis, founder of Camp Good Days, and I wanted to share how we can help you or your loved ones battle with cancer. When I lost my daughter Teddy to cancer, I wanted to give others like her a place where they could be around people who knew exactly what they are going through. A place where you can have some good days and special times. We've been able to do that. What started out as a children's summer camp has turned out to be so much more than I could have ever imagined. And it is all because of the great support system we have in our community. It takes courage to take on cancer, but camp is a place where courage knows no boundaries. For more info, you can call us at 585-624-5555 or visit our website at campgooddays.org.
Here's a reminder that even when there's snow, Springwater Amish Workshop is the place to go for top quality Amish-built buildings and heirloom quality outdoor furniture and decorative items. Perfect for the warmer weather that's on the way. Until spring, hours are Wednesday and Friday 9 to 5 and Saturday 9 to 3. Or you can call Don for an appointment at 585-490-8124. Springwater Amish Workshop, always ready for outdoor fun and entertaining. 7936 Mill Street, Route 15, Springwater, where timeless craftsmanship meets modern reliability.
For over 100 years, families and businesses across Western New York have trusted one name, Doyle Security Systems. From smart home security and surveillance to fully customized commercial intrusion, fire, and video, Doyle protects what matters most, day and night. We're not just another security company, we are your neighbor. We're proud to serve this region we call home, Family owned, locally trusted, always on guard. Secure your home or business with Doyle Security Systems. Protection trusted for generations. Call 1-866-GO-DOYLE or visit GoDoyle.com today.
Copytown Enterprise in Lima, locally owned, offers printing, scanning, banners, signs, labels, forms, tickets, and more. Copytown can print from mobile devices. Copytown Enterprise, East Main Street at the Crossroads in Lima. Open Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 5.
Sharpe Way Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. So happy you guys have me this afternoon, and we are talking about DMV and government as always, and trying to make changes here. They just keep hammering us again and again and again. So yes, D says, word in the street is Larry is traveling this weekend. Yes. For those of you who want to come see me, I will be traveling this weekend. Friday, February 20th, I will be at Freight Yard Brewing in Clay, New York at 7 p.m. Friday in Clay, New York. I'll be in the Cobleskill Diner in Cobleskill, New York. Saturday, February 21st at 11 a.m., 2:30 p.m., Jackson's Old Chatham House in Old Chatham, New York. That's at 2:30. Sunday, I will be at the West Shore Inn Steakhouse at 1 p.m. on Staten Island, New York. Yep, down in New York City. And then 5 p.m. at Sherwin's Beer Garden in Larchmont, New York. That's in Westchester. So upstate and downstate, I will be around. If any of you can make that, please come by and say hi. So yes, Kim says Nixon is who lowered the speed limit to 55 because of 1970s gas shortage. Yes, that was the issue. You remember, me too. That was the issue. 100%. That part is the most important issue. So let me grab, if I could, another call. This is Keith. Keith, how are you, sir?
Okay, hopefully everyone remembers today, President's Day, all of our great presidents, Washington and Lincoln. I called about candidates. I have right here campaign literature from Bruce Blakeman, and it has to do with matching funds. It says New York State offers public matching funds for candidates for governor. Every dollar you give right now, up to $250, will be matched 600%. This means $35 becomes $245, $100 is $700, and $250 is $1,750. And then it says, but here's the kicker: I only unlock this match when I raise $500,000 and receive 5,000 eligible contributions from New York patriots like you. So I was hoping you would explain that to us, how that works and how that would help your own campaign.
Yes, indeed. The way that I'm going to win, which I hope is going to make people like Tony and such happy, is through the matching funds program. You are correct. If in New York, how it works in New York State, I'm able to get 5,000 individual donors to give me a total of $500,000. So the average is $100 per person is the average. Someone give me $5, someone give me $200, but the average is 100. Then New York State will write me a check for 6 times that amount. So $500,000, New York State writes me a check for $3 million. I'm not joking. That's true. That is the number one reason why Mamdani is the mayor of New York. In New York City, it is 8-1. So New York City gave Mamdani, I'm not joking, you can Google this if you want to, $12 million. They do that for a very important reason. Because people in New York State aren't giving like they used to anymore. Why would they? They're all giving up, as you've heard everyone talking about. Why would you give? Well, they have to somehow feed the beast, the political beast. They just take your tax money now. I can't stand it, but I'm taking advantage of it 100%. I have to move forward so I can fix this. So I'm taking advantage of it. Mr. Blakeman is correct. Shame on him, though, because he just put like $4 million of his own other money he's raised from other races into his campaign. I need more into mine. So he needs 5,000 donors. He's nowhere near that because people aren't really supporting him. His money comes from other money he has. The goal is to try to get more people to give. Now, here's how the rules work. You have to give between $5, that's the lowest, and no more than $250. If you give more than $250, they will only match the first $250. So if you want to give $500, you can. They will only match the first $250. The rest is just whatever else you want to give. There's also a maximum. You can't give more than $1,000. I say $1,050, but I say $1,000. All these numbers, Keith, seem weird because they just made them up. I'm not joking. They just made them up. This goes back to my earlier point. And judges went, yeah, that sounds good. Said nothing. They made this program up. They made the numbers up. And that's how it works. Did I answer your question?
Well, it says on the coupon, there's a box you can check for $18K. So I'm just passing that on. I see it right here.
Yes, well, here's the piece for that. Be very clear. The maximum donation you can give to any governor candidate is $9,000 for a person or $18,000 for a household. So if you have a household, like you and a kid, you and a wife, you and a spouse, you may give $18,000. Otherwise, just you may give $9,000. But here's the kicker for this. If you give more than $1,000, they won't match any of it. It's all convoluted. That's the rules they made. It also has to be from someone who is a New York State resident. So you must be a resident of New York State. Did I answer that question?
Yes, I and others hope you come through. We really want you to win this and beat back those dastardly Republicans. You're getting that from me, very conservative. So I'm not being false. Hopefully you, Mr. Larry Sharpe, do take the battlefield.
I am trying, my friend, as you see me keep going every single day. Thank you for that. So let me grab a couple more comments if I could. John says, Larry, don't forget to tell everyone about your special fundraiser with the rail line in Syracuse. Yes. For those of you who care, please head over to my either my website or my Facebook page. I will be having a fundraiser at the rail line in Syracuse, February 27th. Now, every other place I tell you I'm going to be is free. Just come by, come see me. Like the radio show is free. Just come see me. That specifically is a fundraiser. So if you go to that one, you got to give me money if you want to go to that specific one. Every other one, free, come enjoy. But to Keith's point, I do have to raise money. So decide what you feel. I'd love to see you there either way. So yes. All righty. Let me grab this here. All righty. You guys are going back and forth. So many of these. All righty. Edgar says, are donations from another country considered by the U.S. as a foreign sponsorship? They are illegal, Edgar. You are not supposed to take money from foreign entities, another country. And in New York State, hold on, you may be able to, in certain cases, depending on where it is, take cash from a registered foreign lobby group. If it is registered foreign lobby, there are certain cases where you can take money from them. Again, it must be registered as foreign. It must be, and there's certain situations where you can. But for me, no. And I would not anyway. So I will not take any. So yes. Sarah says, good question, Edgar. That's the big question with AIPAC. Let me be very clear about AIPAC for those of you guys who care about this. AIPAC is officially not a foreign lobbying organization. However, I see it as one. It is one. But legally, it is not. I don't want to get in trouble. Legally, it is not. It is my opinion, and opinion of many others, that it is. And I will take no money from a foreign lobbying organization. Just so we're clear on that. I don't want to get in trouble with like YouTube and stuff. I recognize they are not. Edgar says, I'm wondering a way to support Larry if you're not a U.S. citizen. You know how you can support if you're not a U.S. citizen? Please watch and share all my stuff. Tell your friends who are citizens. Please do that. If you're not a citizen, please tell all your friends. Do everything you can. Let people know. That's it. That's important. So I hope that's helpful. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. A lot of people asking about the campaign. Patty says the petition period begins on February 24th. I know you need at least 15,000 Republican signatures. How are you doing in regard to this? Do you have teams on the state who are ready to go petitions? Yes. For those of you who know, I do need 15,000 signatures from Republican registered voters, and it starts February 24th and goes about 6 weeks, give or take. And yes, we are working on those petitions now. We'll be starting them coming up next week. Yes, I've done it before for 45,000. We'll do it. It will be challenging, but once we do it, we will force a primary. Blakeman does not want me to primary him. I understand that, but I will be primarying him anyway. So yes, thank you for that. I really appreciate all the things you're doing. So yes. Pete says, on behalf of my family, we would love to have you at the Robin Hood Diner in Sullivan County. All right, team, if you're watching, that'd be amazing. Please check that out. If we can go there, that would be amazing. John says, it's no secret that DMV, like any other New York agency, is about revenue generating. Not only is our income taxes going to this, but charge even more. This piece that you bring up, John, is one of the harshest ones. Literally now, we have a situation to where you're paying taxes so you can be punished. I'm paying to be punished. You would think I'd stop that. I don't have a choice. Because if I don't pay, I get punished more. So I pay to reduce my punishment. I don't end my punishment. But if I don't pay, that's when they really hammer me. If I do pay, well, not as much. So the HVAC soldier says, Demopublicans can take money from APAC. They all do. It's true. They all do. And that's your decision to decide what you want to do with that, my friend. But I will not. I am about New York first. It is clear. Some of you tease me and you say, Larry, you're always running for something. Not true. I've only run for one thing. 3 times, but one thing. Governor of New York. Now, do I travel the state? And do I still petition? Do I still advocate? Am I still an activist in between? Yes. Does it look like I'm running in between? Yes. Because I still want to maintain my relationships with people. I still want to understand the state. I still want to talk to people and know what's going on. I want to keep my pulse on it. You don't see me show up every 4 years and ask for your vote, or every 4 years and ask for your money. I do ask for your vote money every 4 years. It's true. But you also see me all 3 years in between, don't you? You still see me in your counties, in your diners, in your gun shops, in your vape shops, in your breweries. You still see me there, even when I'm not asking for your money and your vote. Every 4 years, I do ask for your money and your vote. I'm asking for it now. I am. But in between, you still see me. And there's a difference. That piece, to me, matters tremendously. Thank you for that. Let's see. I'm looking over at Rumble. Another one. Anglo says, 10 more bills in the New York State Assembly, and the Senate's going to make gun ownership even more difficult. Time to declare myself a sanctuary citizen, like a sanctuary city. Well, you know, if our sanctuary cities were Second Amendment sanctuary cities, okay, I think now we're talking. Maybe that's the new thing. Anglo twin. You know what? Maybe that's you want to have a sanctuary city? Okay. I'll see you, and I'll raise you a Second Amendment sanctuary city, sanctuary county. Okay, maybe we'll do that. Let's see who wins that battle. I love it. Am I nuts? You can tell me. 585-346-3000 is the number. Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with more of your chat and your calls after the break.
Debunking advertising from the law office of Christopher Johnson. One ad some injury attorneys inundate you with, what's your case worth? Call us and find out. You know, nobody can tell you, quote, what your case
We have Roger.
on the phone. Nobody knows.
Thanks.
The ultimate answer to, quote, what your case is worth involves weeks or months of research, evaluation, and preparation. Many factors go into any compensation you might get, like applicable law, who's actually at fault, how much insurance coverage there is, and many, many other factors. At the law office of Christopher Johnson, the singular focus is getting your life back on track after an accident or injury. That takes money, and it helps when the advice and legal advice you get has a one-on-one focus informed by straight talk. Christopher Johnson, attorney, car, truck, motorcycle accidents, personal injury, and DWI defense. Call 585-415-3803. 585-415-3803.
The youth of our city are in a new crisis. Criminal justice reform has created the consequences of no consequences and generated a whole new generation of 12 to 17-year-old kids committing serious crimes. Never before have we had this level of youthful offenders, but 90% of these kids are just trying to do the right thing and need a safe sanctuary to retreat to. That's Rochester Youth for Christ. You can be a part of this solution by giving generously and regularly at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Sharpe Way Radio on the voice of liberty.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty. So happy that you're giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. So there are so many people who are throwing stuff at me, which I love all the comments I get. I really appreciate it tremendously. It makes me really feel like you guys are caring about both me running, but also that I'm still here, even when I'm not running for office. Many of you can come see me anytime they want. So Mike Voss in the house, he says, DMV is just a revenue source of the state and a way to help donors. Agreed. I wish it wasn't true, because I think most people, they think about it, well, it's good to have a license, it's protecting people and such. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but then why isn't the focus safety versus cash, right? That's the issue. Why isn't the focus safety? It is too bad that it seems to be just cash, and more cash, right? That's the problem. HVAC says, meeting quotas, that's an ICE agent. That's funny. To be forward, there aren't any actual quotas. That's not a thing. The problem is the system is set up to pressure officers to make certain amount of cash. It just is, to do a certain amount of things. There's pressure on them. But no, do they go, hey, Johnson, I need 3 arrests today? No. But is there pressure? Yes. And to be forward, I'm not against there being some pressure on cops or anybody else in business to perform. The question is, how do I measure performance? Am I measuring performance by I got more bad guys? Or am I measuring performance by I made more cash? If I'm measuring performance by I got more bad guys, pressure the cops. Not a problem with that one. And I would bet most cops be okay with that kind of pressure, right? Your job is go out and get bad guys. Go get them. That's the issue. Merlin says, #1 in police state. You're not wrong. We are the least free state as ranked by Cato multiple years in a row. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Roger. Roger, how are you?
All right, I'm going to read this real quick. Speeding.
Okay.
Here's section speeding. Speeding is speeding, regular speeding, old points with 3 points, new points of 4 points. In a construction zone, old points it varies, new points are 8 points. Cell phone,
8 points.
Old points with 5 points, new points are 6 points for cell phone. Overtaking a stopped school bus, old points with 5 points, new points are 8 points. Okay, here's the reckless driving part. Failure to yield to a pedestrian, reckless driving, old points with 5 points, new points are 8 points. Fail to yield to a pedestrian, old points with 3, new or 5. Following too closely, old points with 4, new points are 5. And like DWY stuff, it used to be 0. I didn't know that. But 8 to 11 now. Violations that now have points that were 0 points before. Equipment problems like broken taillights, 1 point. Illegal U-turns used to be 0, 2 points. Obstructing traffic used to be 0, now it's 2. Failure to move over for emergency vehicles used to be 0 points, now it's 3. Aggravated licensed, unlicensed operating, now it's 11 points. It used to be 0. Facilitating aggravated.
Hold on, 1 second. 11 points, you lose your license now, right?
Yeah.
So that means you lose your license.
Yeah. Okay, so facilitating aggravated unlicensed operation used to be 0, now it's 5 points. Speeding contest used to be 0, now it's 5 points. Plus there's some other stuff there. So let me tell you something. Someone was talking about like a gun license or whatever, they're going to move about, with their wife somewhere, and someone said we're a Gestapo state, blah, blah, blah. If you want some freedom, the only way to get it, we have to be a citizen-initiated constitutional amendment state that allows us to place our own amendments on the ballot. And if we had that power, one of the things I would push is, DMV, you want to do this? Okay, we are going to put in the Constitution, you lose your license after 20 points, and now the 6-point driver course test reduction, whatever it's called, instead of up to 6 points, it's now going to be up to 15 points. Okay.
I hear what you're saying, but while I'm with you, it's a bigger issue. You're not wrong in what you're saying, but it's a bigger issue. What you just put out right now, we have no recourse to stop it at all. Yours is a way, but right now we have no way, literally nothing. So they just raised all of the points and lowered the amount of points to lose your license. It used to be, I think, 12 or 13 to lose your license. Now it's 11. And here's the point. It solves no problem. New York State is not more dangerous. It's safer. New York City is the safest since it's been recorded when it comes to car accidents and vehicle problems, not other issues, but when it comes to vehicles, safest ever. So Roger, yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, but we need to stop just doing this in general. Am I wrong here?
No, you're not. And as a side note, before the music starts playing, I was part of the group, that progressive group years ago that protested in Albany to get for public financing of elections. I wasn't leading it or anything like that. I was just a cog in the machine. However, I was the one that suggested when they went around the state to take public comments to, that guy, Jay Jacobs, I'm pretty sure you know who he is. When I said what I said, his eyes opened wide. I said it should only be multiplied by those who are direct constituents. So when
I like that.
So if you run statewide for the 4 offices, governor, lieutenant, state GE, and comptroller, if it comes from out the state, it don't get multiplied. I also said the same thing should be applied to legislative districts. So
that's kind of how it works. So nice. It's kind of how it works.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I was the one that was responsible for that part.
There we go. It's your fault. I'm going to blame you, Roger, if I lose. It's your fault if I lose, Roger. I appreciate the call, my friend. Thanks. I want to add one more piece to this punishment piece. And this is a bit more controversial. And this is the one about DUI. He mentioned DUI. I don't have sympathy for someone who has DUI. I don't. However, you have people who have DUIs who've harmed nobody, meaning they got caught driving drunk, but harmed nobody, meaning they didn't have an accident. And again, you shouldn't drive drunk. You should be punished. No problem. But they lose their license in New York State forever. I'm not joking. Forever. So even if they go through the program to tell you, they get sober, they don't drink, they've proven it, punishment forever. The DMV not only takes your money, but it wrecks your life forever. Wow. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.
Okay, great show as always, and we'll talk to you next Monday. Thanks, bye.